Allow record. There we go.
Oh my gosh. All right, then we'll have to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah,
But
maybe we can save it and
so
then yeah.
yeah, so tell me how you were just talking about the intimacy
Yeah.
of, and I hope you don't feel shy now that
No,
you're being
no. It's okay. So two things. One was the way in which you wrote your story. You were the description of your moment to moment experience, even quote unquote prior to awakening. So all throughout your journey was so detailed from the very beginning that captured me actually. Number one, I think you're a wonderful writer. So I was enjoying the artistic flavor that you were offering, and then I was also while reflecting on what it was like for me to experience the book, felt like the direct transmission of what you were trying to communicate was happening from the very beginning of the book through how you
Mm,
described your experience
with the smells and
with the smells and the tastes and the touches and the atmosphere and the vibes. It was total vibes and and also the intimacy of how you start the book with no with topless as a metaphor for how naked this can be, how vulnerable, how intimate it is, like your
you
tits
know
are out.
you're I just feel so touched by how you're describing this because um I mean, you're really feeling the book. You're not just reading someone else's journey. I mean,
Yeah.
I can feel just the way you're describing it, how you're really taking it in and being one with it. I mean, this is just really, you know, this just really touches my heart in a way that I hadn't experienced before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I was also saying that this is the most intimate thing that a human being can go through, more intimate than sex in a way. So like the way that you are just your whole life is just here it is, but not just the story of your life. What
Yes.
what is it that is the silence within the story? I don't know how else to say that, but the communication beneath the story.
Again, that really, what you're saying really touches my heart because a lot of people can read that as, like an autobiography or
Yeah.
whatever, but it's so much more than just my story.
Yeah.
And I haven't known how to put that into words to
Yeah.
relate that, but
Yeah.
you've experienced it.
Yeah. I would say it's a direct transmission.
Wow.
If
Wow.
somebody has the capacity to read and feel and sense and open, they can experience what you're pointing to. And even though toward you actually you point it, I feel like I could sense it from the beginning, but you don't start directly talking about direct pointers really maybe until the end of towards the end or the second part of the book. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pr pretty much not until the second half of the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you say that the pointers were even there
Yeah, I
before
could.
I got into the whole, you
Yes.
know,
Yeah, I could sense, I could feel it. I don't know what it was. I feel like I was with you in a way. And it
yeah.
was, and yeah, it was just very intimate from the beginning. I don't know how else to say.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because I'm thinking about right now, like in the very first portion of the book, when I'm
Mhm.
first discovering the Gurdjieff work and the so-called teacher who's you know, uh, sexualizing his students. I don't pull any punches. I don't hold anything back. And then even when I met my second teacher, um, Anne McCurdy, um, and how she just kind of saw right through, what the work refers to as the false personality and, you
Mm,
know, basically my bullshit that I was really kind of not ready to hear. I mean, uh, it was devastating.
mm,
And but that's how I wrote it in my journal. So there it is. I'm sharing, I'm sharing what that self-loathing can look like
mm,
for, you know, a good portion of the population that has felt that.
mm. Yeah, I think it's beautiful how I identify with that as well as um, always feeling that sense of self-hatred ever since I can remember, but maybe not having words for it even,
Yeah. Yes.
not
Or
knowing
even
that's
a
what it
label
was.
for
So,
it.
yeah, but definitely the dialogue or the energy of it was always very shame-based or guilt-based,
Yes.
and then
I think it's shame.
shame, yeah, and then seeking to some comfort from that.
Exactly. And that is, I mean, that's kind of world over. I mean, I
Mm.
don't think, yeah,
Yeah.
that is, that is a thing. I don't
Mhm.
know how, I don't know
Yeah.
how, yeah. And,
Mhm.
and because most people, when that identification is going on, there's no name for it.
Mhm.
It's just me.
Yeah.
It's just this me, this limited me that I take myself to be.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no questioning of that as being adventitious or not real even.
Yes, yes. See,
There's
I
no
just,
like, yeah, the fact that like the first introduction of that concept of actually what are you, or have you stopped to consider that the thought of yourself is just a thought?
yes, that is so beautiful.
I mean, I think to hear that and to digest that, I think there's a reason why, and I do love this about your book that there is an unraveling, meaning like to actually end up hearing that there's all this stuff that happens before you do the body work, you do your constellations work, or you do therapy, you talk about nature, submerging in nature, like in a way, like that's what I wanted to ask you about at some point. How important is it for the nervous system to get to a place where it can actually hear a message like this?
I'm so, again, I mean, you're just speaking to my heart and
Yeah.
to, that's such a beautiful question because, and I can only answer it from my own experience because, this non-dual people out there who will probably say, oh, no, you don't need any of that. Just recognize. Yeah. Uh, all I can say is for me, and because you mentioned the nervous system, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a thing,
Mm,
there may be no self, but there is certainly this nervous system that, you know, has experienced trauma, and
mm,
I'm not the only one. And for me, that was all essential. I could not imagine having met Peter Brown, let's say, my final teacher, my that last teacher, um, and having not gone through the experiences that, this character went through. And and it's true, the nervous system just had to settle
mm.
in my opinion. That's
Yeah.
just, and so that's why it's so important to me. How do I put this? It's so important to me to communicate to people, you know, through this kind of means, whatever, that how do I put this into words? That there shouldn't be this big dividing line between the finite reality, what we're experiencing, this relative reality, and the infinite. They are absolutely not separate, and people tend to divide it up, and it just creates, in my opinion, it creates confusion and really misunderstanding, because the nervous system and whatever experiences we went through, quote unquote, that seem to have happened in time, that that registers somewhere,
Mm.
and good luck if you have an opportunity just to, awaken and just see through everything, and now it's all, whatever. Um, that was not my case. And so, you know, maybe I hope I'm speaking for the majority, but
Mm.
yeah, the nervous system, I think that you're bringing up a really important point.
Mm.
And so where does that land for you with your own nervous system and whatever? uh
Yeah. Well, it sort of ties into what we were talking about before. Like, however, this, biological mechanism called the mind and the body
right.
functions, like each, individual has its own way that they are. Maybe some bodies are much more traumatized than others. And I would say I if I had to compare, I'd probably be on the side of having a bit more trauma than
Mhm.
maybe the average bear. Um, um, which in a way could be really I'm this is another question I'm thinking, because what is it? Why would I then how do I phrase this question? If the way that my reality wasn't inherently absolutely uncomfortable and there wasn't a lot of suffering, why would I then look for a way out of that?
Exactly.
So in a way,
Exactly.
that the
It's
the
perfect.
yeah, the discomfort of having that kind of nervous system that I then tried to treat by seeking
That's right.
in many different forms, exhausting a lot of those paths, you could say, of
Yep.
if I could just get this thing or that thing, or
That's right.
in a way. So I don't know if everyone has to go through that sort of trying to get the outside thing that will fix it, but that's certainly my journey of
Same
exhaustion.
here, as you know from my
Yeah.
book. And so, uh that's who will likely be drawn to reading this unfolding,
Mm.
reading this story, because you know I think that many people, I can't say all, but many people we learn from each other's stories,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be identical, but we can resonate, and it kind of unlocks one's own awareness or one's own impression or one's
Yeah.
own insights. I mean, that to me, that's the whole point of reading, unless even poetry can probably
No.
do that.
Yeah, I do think one of my most favorite forms of communication is through storytelling
Mm,
in like you're saying, like it's not you're not giving, because I had actually somebody ask me about the book, and it was a male friend and he's in the Dharma community, and he said, "So tell me about it." And I said, "Well, it's written by a woman. There's not really a map." And he started laughing hysterically, and he
mm,
said, "That's very interesting. Mostly when women, in his opinion, women tend to awaken in a much more like, I don't know if you could call it organic or whereas there are other ways where people are doing practices.
mm,
They're doing like I've also done the same thing which and I still like to sit and absorb into different samadhi states or whatever. It's just very comfortable for the body. So, do you know, it's like I don't know where I was going with that, but
He was talking about
yes,
there's no map.
the yeah, the that in a way, maybe the way that I was reading it was from that place of being able to just openly open to the book without needing to conceptualize much.
Yes, that is a beautiful, that is,
Yeah.
that is, yeah. So
And
there's a
that's
lot of, but
direct.
yes, and I'm so touched, and I often don't have words when I hear you say something that is like, yes, because right here, this being here is pretty non-conceptual,
Mm,
and so you know, it's amazing that that got written, but um,
mm,
there's not a lot of concepts, and I purposely don't want to give a lot of concepts, especially later in the book when I'm talking about coming to this recognition, because it's not about the concepts. That's where we get
mm,
stuck all the time.
mm,
Yeah. And yes, there is no map per se. And that's where the story comes in. Like Native American cultures, that's how they teach their community through storytelling. And so I'm offering this experiencing as storytelling,
yeah.
and and nobody's doing anything anyway. I mean, it's what I mean is it's all just unfolding.
Mm,
And so it's kind of like ingesting
mm,
nourishment.
yeah.
And then, there's just guidance, there's just unfolding, there's just happening.
Yeah.
This kind of probably can sound kind of crazy, but uh, that's really the mystery. That is really the synchronicity, that
Mm,
it's all beyond anybody doing anything. Or, I can say, well, yeah, I went and took Rolfing, and
mm,
then I had psychotherapy and all that.
yeah.
But there was no individual per se doing those things. It was
Mm,
consciousness unfolding through experiencing. And even that is too many words.
mm,
Even the word through. I mean,
mm,
you kind of come to a place where, the words just, it's so much of a feeling. And
yeah.
this is what I really love about you, is that you're with your feelings, and we're trying to bumble through words. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a part of a community at one point, and the term was the language of the heart.
Mm.
And it was through storytelling.
Mm.
And it reminds me of what you're saying. It's like if you can vibe with the story, and in a way there are direct pointers throughout the story. It's not completely mapless.
Thank you for bringing that up.
There like you could I think absolutely there's enough of a map at the same time. I
So
don't know.
there's the
Yeah.
beautiful paradox.
Yeah.
Um, what do you feel? What did you feel at the end of this, when you at the end of the book? Do you remember?
Mm. Well, I was crying because of some of the words that you were expressing were so beautiful. Um, and you, I felt like you had told your story and relived it in a sense and clarified, I guess you could say, the view or um, your direct experience. And then um, it's as if I was with you very intimately, as if there was no separation even.
Yes. Yes.
In the storytelling, this. Yeah, I don't know how to say that, but the
Oh,
intimacy, yeah, yeah,
that was the intimacy. Yeah.
yeah. And I just think what a gorgeous story. Oh my God. And what a gorgeous story. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. I mean, so there was a lot of you could say trauma and stuff, but there was no, it wasn't dramatic in the way that you wrote it. It was just so matter of fact. It was beautifully artistically written, but also you pulled out of you distilled from those experiences what you sort of needed in order to then either close that loop, or
Yeah.
do you know what I'm saying? That I thought was very skillful, that it didn't become like this dramatic story, even though it
Hmm.
was filled with drama, if,
Is
if you
yeah, I
will.
really appreciate your
Yeah.
commenting on that.
Yeah.
That there was a lot of trauma and
Yeah.
drama, but it wasn't written
N-
to be dramatic.
no.
Yeah. And when you
But
say
I
closing the
felt
loop,
even that, if I could just talk about
yeah,
that for a second,
yeah,
even
please.
that what is a direct pointer in and of itself, because it's saying here is matter of factly the trauma of this, but we're not going to get stuck there because that's not the point. Like
Yes,
that, the fact
yes,
that
that is
some of these sentences or chapters you would like drop a bomb in a way, or like something very, and it would just be like bump, we're moving on now. Like it just felt like like you couldn't get stuck in the spin or the loop of what you could call suffering is. It's the added layer on top of that that make, you know what I mean? It was just rawly that, and then boom, I don't know. So cool.
no, that is
Yeah.
so beautiful. I mean, I just love the sensitivity that you are able to describe uh, traveling through that.
Yeah.
And and you're speaking about I forget how you said that, but like wrapping it up. You didn't use that word. You used
Closing a loop.
closing the loop.
Yeah.
Yes. So my mother passed away. I mean, I didn't even know how the book was going to end when I was writing it. Even after I had met my teacher, Peter, I still didn't know how it was going to end. And everything just, again, the synchronicity. Oh,
Oh,
oh, there you are. The synchronicity of even the book
yeah.
writing itself was just astonishing to me, because my mom passed away, and that told me, and it was during the time I was with Peter, studying with him, and that told me, oh, the book is coming to an end.
Mm.
Because my mother was a big theme in the book, and my relationship with her,
Mm.
and my relationship with myself, basically there is no separation there. And 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 that was the last chapter, was her passing.
Yeah.
and and the unfolding of that. Um, but something that touched you was in the afterwards, from what I remember you telling
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll be able to find it again in the afterwards. Mm. Or was it in the acknowledgments? Let's see.
Oh,
No, maybe it was the.
well, we might have to do a part two.
Yeah, I think we have like only a few minutes left, it said on my end.
Okay.
So it might kick us off.
All right. So we can save that.
Okay.
And I'm just
Okay.
so
Well,
thrilled. I mean, the whole spontaneity of our wanting to connect. This is the first time we've had Zoom together,
mm,
and um
yeah.
and the whole thing just kind of unfolded swimmingly. I just really love that. Um and I can't be more joyful
Mm,
about I can't be any more joyful about just the way you have been able to receive
Mm.
this book
Yeah.
and and take really all that my heart has to offer. That's thank you.
No,
That's
yeah. Yeah, I'm really touched too. Yeah. Thank you so much, Nancy.
so I'm gonna
Mhm.